Why doesn't Kevin feel pain? How old is he actually? What barely noticeable details that reveal the essence of this character are there in the movie and in the comics? And why is his death not as simple as it seems? This video answers these and other interesting questions related to Frank Miller's Sin City. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and support the video with your activity. This is very important for me. Marv may not be the smartest, but what he's always been good at is putting puzzles together. The only thing is, this time a huge piece of the puzzle is missing. The bastard who killed Goldie that night. Not just a woman, but an angel who gave Marv something he had never even imagined. Love and fierce passion. But whoever it was, he was a born killer, leaving no trace of violent death on Goldie's body. The one who managed to silently sneak past Marv even though Marv was dead drunk. Yes, we have long known that the killer is none other than the brightest bastard from Frank Miller's Sin City, Kevin. Cannibal Kevin. With a slight smirk on his face that won't disappear until his death. That's how it will all end for Kevin. But there's one very interesting detail in how it all began. We know that Kevin's patron is the most powerful of the Roarks and the most influential man in the entire state, Cardinal Patrick Roark. We know that once, when Kevin was young, he came to Patrick Roark with remorse, tormented by guilt. We understand what it was exactly that tormented Kevin back then. It was the first step in the practice of eating people. But the original source, the graphic novel, says that at that time, when Roark and Kevin first met, Roark himself was still a young priest. This means that the age difference between them wasn't that great, maybe 10 to 15 years. So by the time of Hard Goodbye story arc, Kevin could be 60 or even 70 years old. Well, in the original source, he looks around 30 and even younger than that in the movie. Also in the comic, Kevin looks more untidy than in the adaptation. In the comic, this subtle detail about the character's age was indicated as one of the lost, and it confirmed our assumption that Kevin was a supernatural being. And according to the author, it is true indeed. Miho is another supernatural being in Sin City. And if Kevin represents the dark forces, then Miho does the light ones. Although in Sin City, concepts like dark and light are relative and blurred. Patrick Roark will tell Marv that over time, Kevin embraced his vice and his practice of eating people, prostitutes to be more precise, transformed into an act of pure love for all living creatures. In those moments, he felt as if he was touching God. Because of this, Kevin's angelic voice, which only Roark could hear, gradually became deeper and richer, and this voice filled Roark with true ecstasy. However, Roark grew unsatisfied with this. He became addicted to Kevin's hobby, sharing the sessions of all-encompassing love for the prostitutes with him. The series of plot twists will lead Marv to Roark's family farm, a dreadful place where people die in the wrong way. Roark chose Marv as a scapegoat to pin the murders of the lost 6 girls and Goldie herself on. But this was far from the reason why Kevin chose Marv. Later we'll talk more about that. At the farm, Marv once again experiences something that he could never have imagined. Someone silently approaches him from behind. There is no doubt it is the one who killed Goldie, a born killer. He moves in a way that no fighter in the world is capable of, like a wild beast. He blinds Marv with his claw-like nails and knocks him out. When Marv wakes up in the basement of the farm, the first thing he notices is what remains of the missing girls, heads on the wall left as trophies. Marv's old acquaintance Lucille is also there. She would tell him that he leaves just heads and eats the rest. Lucille ended up here since she was also on the trail of the Roark's farm, and Kevin made her watch, him gnawing the meat from her fingers. There is more information on this episode in the source material. Lucille woke up in the kitchen without a hand. Kevin cut it off while Lucille was unconscious and fried it as a steak. And he was quite crafty in separating the hand from the body, at least in the comics. In other words, Kevin has more than enough experience in the surgical dismembering of human bodies. Kevin's victims are gradually and slowly deprived of their limbs and other body parts, watching as Kevin eats them before their eyes. Kevin does this for a reason. Roark will say that Kevin eats not only their flesh, but also their souls. Moreover, he feeds on their pain, their screams. This is clearly shown both in the comic and in the film. When Lucille screams in terror, at those moments, Kevin, standing outside, experiences true ecstasy, almost like he feeds on her screams. This is a crucial detail that reveals the true nature of Kevin's supernatural powers. Their fear is his sustenance. That is, Kevin's cannibalism, eating his victims gradually before their own eyes, is a tool, a way to get a decent portion of their fear. Whoever gave Kevin the powers, it was not God for sure. God has long abandoned this cursed place called Sin City. And if in these scenes we see that Kevin feeds on Lucille's pain, then in these scenes Kevin shows curiosity towards Marv. Why didn't Kevin kill Marv at the moment he killed Goldie? It would have been much easier to pin the murders of the girls on Marv posthumously. Why didn't he kill him right here? Because Kevin needed Marv alive for one specific purpose. After all, the last ritual of touching his god, whoever that god might be, or even merging with him into one, for Kevin was the ritual of eating himself. Yes, that's right. And for that, he needed someone exactly like Marv. After all, they are very much alike in some ways. Marv loves to inflict a lot of pain on his enemies, and for him, the moment of killing is not as important as what happens before. Remember, he promised to show those responsible for Goldie's death true hell. That's exactly what Kevin needed. Moreover, Marv enjoys gradually dismembering his victims the same as Kevin. And he did this not only to Kevin, but also to this guy. The comic says that he showed him his own body parts to make him speak. So Marv dismembers Kevin, who doesn't make a sound in the process, and makes him feel his own wolf devouring him alive. For the completion of his final perverted ritual, Kevin only lacks one thing, the manifestation of terror and screams of pain. But this seems to be the case only at first glance in the movie. In the comic, one may notice how at the moment when the wolf begins to devour Kevin, the smirk disappears from his face. For absolutely emotionless Kevin, who never changes his expression, this is a manifestation of true horror. Yes, the answer to one of the main questions of this video, namely why doesn't Kevin feel pain, is extremely simple, and we've already answered it at the beginning. Because Kevin is a supernatural being, and he's only susceptible to emotional pain, which he feeds on, and which he is able to feel himself before his death. Kevin is the main illogicality in Marv's life. He didn't make a sound and looked into Marv's eyes until the very end, even when Marv was sawing his head off. Marv doesn't enjoy killing Kevin. Marv was waiting for the screams and suffering that he did not get. So can we say that in this regard, Kevin's perverted ritual went awry? No, because besides Marv, there was someone who did feel and taste Kevin's fear. It was his wolf. The beast that Kevin had been training for years to eat human flesh. A creature that doesn't need screams to feel someone's fear. And whatever dark forces may be the source of Kevin's powers, that night he became even closer to them. Yes, Kevin saw the meaning of his life in his mission to attain pure love. He considered it sacred and truly filled with divine devotion, again whoever his true god may be. He believed his path was righteous and looked down on other elements of the criminal world, aside from Patrick Roark. That night he certainly knew that Roark Jr. was being murdered around the corner and didn't even think about intervening in what was happening. He truly does, in a way, take the souls of his victims. He takes their life force. Who knows, maybe that's how Goldie was killed. Yes, most of the conclusions about Kevin's nature you heard in this video are my subjective opinion, but why not? In any case, the story of Sin City is not a story of piercing darkness. It's a story that eating human flesh is inhuman. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the channel, like it, and leave a comment. It is very important to me.